Hey, what's up everyone? In this video, I will show you how to add form validation in React. So I'm going to show you two different approaches of adding that logic. The first one is to use individual state variables for all the fields we have in the form. The second one is to use only one state variable where we have all the fields inside an object, and we are going to add the validation logic dynamically. So we are going to have four different fields in the form, and if I hit the submit button, you will get to see all the errors we have for all these fields. Now, by default, every field is required. We have to enter something in the input field. So if I enter a username and hit submit button, you won't be able to see the error anymore. Then we have the error for email ID as well. Now we have two different errors for this one. The first one is to make sure that user enters something in the email field. The second one is to ensure that user enters a valid email ID, which is according to the specified format of an email. Now if I enter just the email and hit submit button, I'm going to get the error invalid email. So I have to do email at email.com, and if I hit the submit button, the error goes away. Now the password must be at least 8 characters long. So if I enter a password and hit the submit button, the error goes away. And this password also has to be 8 characters long, but also it has to match with the password we have entered here. So if I entered something which does not match with this one, then I'm going to get an error that password does not match. And if I enter the valid password, then you see all the fields and all the values will go away, and we will have the empty fields again. And if I open the console, then we can see that we have all the data which we have submitted, and we can only submit this data if we don't have any errors in the logic. So we are going to have this form, we are going to build this form in this video. So let's get started. Well, I forgot to mention that I have added the link of this sandbox in the description box below. Ignore everything you see here right now because I've already finished the video, and this is the code you'll get to see by the end of this video. So yeah, let's get started. Now let's first create a form with all the fields, and then we'll add the logic of validation. I've already added all the styles I had to have, and I'm not going to work on the CSS in this video, so we'll have all these styles and we can just add the elements and the styles will be applied. So let's go to the app.js file. Let's have a form first, not DOM, form. And I want to have the label, the input field, and then an element which is going to show the error. And this is going to be the same for all four fields. So let's add a label. The first one is going to be for the username, and let me define this property as well. Then we are going to have an input field. For username, it's going to be of type text. The name is going to be username. Let's add a placeholder as well, which says enter username. What else? Okay, this is fine for now. Let's add a span element which is going to show an error, and this is going to be empty for now. Okay, let's copy this one because we're going to need it for the three other fields we have. Okay, so this one is going to be for the email ID. Let's change it everywhere, and the type is going to be email. Now the third one has to be for password, and I think I've added an extra field here. Let's remove it. So this is the first password field. The type is going to be password as well. Okay, this is going to be for confirm password. Let's say re-enter password. The type is going to be password and the name is going to be confirm password, which matches with the label. Let's have a button as well. Okay, this is how the form looks like, and nothing is going to happen if I hit the submit button. Okay, now you can see that the page is refreshing, and this is the default behavior of a form. If we have a form and we hit the button inside the form, then the page is going to refresh, and it kind of makes a get request where you can see it adds the username, email, password, and confirm password. So it adds all the fields in the URL. Okay, and this is the default behavior of a form, and we are going to prevent this default behavior later in this video. But for now, we have a static form which doesn't do anything for now. So let's create the state variables. Okay, the first approach is to have individual state variables for every field. So the username will have its own field. I have misspelled username in here. Okay, so we'll have the state variable for username. We're going to have the state variable for the username error as well. So in the first approach, we are going to have 8 different state variables, which is not recommended if you have a lot of fields in the form, but for now we just have 4 fields, so it's completely fine to use it. So let's import useState from React, and let's define all the state variables. So the first one is going to be username. It's going to have its set username function, and the initial value is going to be an empty string. The second one is going to be email and set email. The initial value is going to be empty string. And this is going to be the same thing for other 2 state variables as well. For password, we have set password. And let's copy this one. Let's not waste time. And let's make it confirm password. Confirm password with capital P. Okay. Now we have these, and before creating the state variables for errors, let's assign these state variables as value for the input fields. So let's add the value prop, and here pass username. Let's pass email in here. For this one we have password. This is going to be confirm password. And let me charge my laptop first. Okay. Now it is going to take some time. My sandbox is working slowly today. Okay, but the code is fine. So we have added these values for all the input fields now. Let's create a handler to change the values of these state variables. Okay, username. All right. Now I'm going to add the change handler, the change event for all the input fields, and I'm going to set the value for their respective state variables, and this is going to be e dot target dot value. In this case, the e stands for event, and the target value is the one which we enter in here. So whatever we enter, it's going to be assigned to the state variable. Let's do the same thing for the other fields as well. This is going to be set email, set password, and set confirm password. Okay, I can enter anything I want in here. Okay, now let's add some error state variables. So let's have a state variable for username first. Username error, set username error. Now this is the problem when we use individual state variables for every single field, because we have to create a lot of state variables. It requires a lot of time, and this is not really convenient for us if we have a lot of fields, but still we are going to see how it works out. Let's have the field for email error as well. Set email error, useState empty string. Let's copy this one. I don't want to waste my time and yours as well. Password, and let's have confirm password. Okay, now let's assign these error state variables inside the span element. So this is going to be username error. This one will be email error. This is going to be password error, and this one confirm password error. If you want to see the styles I've just added a color red for the span elements. So if I enter something in here, so this is going to be the error for us. Let's keep it empty string, and now add the logic to validate all these fields. Okay, so I'm going to add a function const validate, and I'm going to define a variable is valid. I'm going to set its value to true first. So at first the form is going to be true. Now let's add some checks for all these fields. Okay, so let's add some checks for the username field. So if username dot trim method, now the trim method, if we add some space in the beginning and the end of the string, then it's going to remove those spaces and then return a string. So if its length is is equal to 0, then let's add an error. First of all, we'll have to do is valid equal to false, because if we have the error, that means the form is not valid. And let's set username error, and let's say username is required. Okay, let me just add only this check for now. Return is valid. Create another handler, handle submit, which is going to take an event. And remember what I said about the default behavior of the form, that it refreshes the page if we hit the button. So I'm going to prevent this behavior using the prevent default method, which is a part of the event. And if I hit the submit button, the 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 page won't be refreshed. And I'm going to add this in here to the click event, handle submit. Let's pass the event. Save this. If I hit the submit button now, it doesn't refresh. Okay. Now let's check. We have this check for username. If its length is 0, then we must be able to see the error, username error. And if I hit the submit button, we should be able to see the error for this one. But I think it's still scanning the code. Okay. Okay, let me enter something in here. Nothing happens. Okay, let me open the console and see if we have any errors. On click. Okay, we don't have any valid error for this one. It's just a syntax error which we encountered before. Hit the submit button, nothing happens. Okay, is valid. I have returned it. Is valid is true. So if validate is true, we should be able to see some values in the console. So let's add username for now, because we are going to test this one. Save this, clear the console. Let me add some username. Hit submit. Okay, I can see the username now. But what if I don't add anything and hit submit? Okay, now I see the error. I don't know why it didn't work before, but yeah, now it works fine, and we have the validation logic for the username field. Okay, now we have the error, but what if I enter something in here and then hit the submit button? We still see the username, but we can also see the username in here. We have the error, but still we get this value in here. Now why this happened? This error should go away when we have something in this field, when we have some value. This doesn't go away because we have added the check to see if the field is empty, and at first the field was empty, and hence the username error state variable had this value username is required. But when we entered something and hit the submit button, we do not have any logic to check if it has any value. Okay, what if this is not true? What if this condition doesn't satisfy? We should have a logic in here in the else block, and if we have a value, we should set the username error to an empty string again. Okay, if I add this logic now and hit the submit button, I can see my username and I don't see any error. Okay, so this is how it should work. Let's add some checks for the email field as well. So I'm going to copy this one, do it for email. Let's copy this one as well, or not. Let's not copy it. Is valid is going to be false, and set email error. I'm going to say email is required. Okay, I'm going to add another condition, another check for the email field. I've added this regex if you have seen it before. Okay, I'm going to make use of it, and I want the value which we enter in the email field to follow this format. If it doesn't satisfy the condition, then I'm going to show the error that the email is not valid. Okay, let's make use of this regex email regex dot. I'm going to make use of the test method, and it's going to have the value email. If it's not true, then let's show an error. Set email error, and let's say invalid email, and set is valid equal to false. If both the conditions are not satisfied, if we have a valid field, a perfectly valid email, then let's set email error to an empty string. Okay, let's try this one now. I do not enter anything and hit the submit button. I get to see that the email is required. I enter anything in here and hit the submit button. I get to see that invalid email. If I follow the perfect structure and then hit the submit button, now I don't see any error. Okay, now let's add some checks for password and confirm password as well. So I'm just going to copy this one. Okay, but for now it should be less than 8. If it's less than 8, then we should say that password must be at least 8 characters long. Okay, else set password error to an empty string, and this should be set password error. Let's copy this one and do the same thing for confirm password, but for confirm password we're going to have one more condition. Set confirm password. This is not going to be email, this should be password, this should be confirm password. Okay, let's add another check. Else if password dot trim, if it's not equal to confirm password dot trim. So if both the values do not match, then I'm going to say, so first of all, is valid should be false, and I'm going to say set confirm password does not match. Okay, now if everything goes well, then is valid is going to be true, and in here I should be able to show all the details which we have entered so far. So username, email, password, and okay, that's fine. We don't have to show the confirm password value. If I save this one and let's clear the console, I don't want to have any values at first. I don't want to see the console for now. If I hit the submit button, I get to see these errors. Why don't I see the error for confirm password? Confirm password.trim.length set confirm password. Well, it should be working. Set password error. Okay. Set confirm password error. And it should be error, not just the password. Save this, hit the submit button. I can now see the password does not match. Okay, password.trim, confirm password. Okay, anyway, but we still have the error. So if I enter the username, then the username error goes away. If I enter aditya@gmail.com, the email error goes away. If I enter password in here and hit send, this error goes away. And if I enter the same password, I don't think I've entered the same password. Okay, let me retype this one. Okay, let's hit send. And now if I open console, I should be able to see the details. Yeah. So if the form is valid, then only we'll be able to see this data and to send the data. In the real world application, instead of showing the data in console, we are going to make a post request, and probably we are going to create an account. So we are going to send these details to the backend, and the user account will be created and we'll get a token in return, and we're going to start a session for the user. So all these things happen in the real world application, but for now we are just going to show the data. Okay, so this is how you add form validation using the individual state variables. Okay, and the best case scenario is, well, we should be able to clear these fields as well. Okay, so when inside these condition, I should set all the state variables like set username, set email to an empty string, and this values will then go away. Okay, so we should always clear the form, or we can even have a handler like this, const reset fields, or let's say clear fields, and in here I can say set username to an empty string, set email, do the same thing for password, and confirm password as well. Okay, if I call this clear fields inside the validate condition, it should work fine. If I hit submit, clear fields. Okay, I have done some mistake in here. Why do we have the clear field is not defined? Why? I have just defined it. Const clear fields. I'm not sure why it happened. Let's hit the submit button again. Okay, clear fields is still not defined, even if it is. Okay, let me call this function again. And let's see if I get a suggestion from sandbox. Let's copy the same name. Okay, let's call this function. Save the file. Hit submit. Still we get the error. I don't know why. What if I do everything directly in here? Let's see if it works. Okay, save it. Now, yeah, set confirm password. It should work fine. Set confirm password. Okay, for some reason the confirm password is not clearing out. Save this. Let me enter something in every single field. Password must be 8 characters long. Something is wrong with the validation check we have added for else if password. Okay, confirm password and password. And even here this logic fails. Let me see what value I have given in here. Value is, oh my god. So I made a silly mistake, and I think this was a better thing to happen in here because I like to solve errors when I make videos. I like to make errors as well, but let's make it confirm password. This is why we were getting this error. Okay, if I enter something, email at .com, submit. Okay, now everything clears out. Okay, so this is how you can add the form validation logic using the individual state variables. Okay, let's not waste time, and I'm going to show you the second approach of doing this. Let's clear these fields. Let's have only one state variable known as form data. Set form data, and is going to hold an object at first, which is going to have all the fields. So username will be set to an empty string. Then we have error, password, confirm password. Okay, now let's have the state variable for errors as well. Errors and set errors is going to have the same logic, the same object. So let me just copy this one. So at first the errors, all the errors will have an empty string, and the same goes for the form data as well. I'll need to change the values now. So this value is going to be form data dot username. So let me copy this one because we are going to do the same thing for other fields as well. Form data dot email, form data dot password, and form data dot confirm password. Okay, let's change the values of these errors variables as well. So errors dot confirm password. Let's copy this one. This is going to be password. Then for email, we have email error. This is going to be errors.email. This is going to be errors.username. Okay. Now we were handling the change event individually for every single field. For now, when we use the form data as a single set variable, we don't have to do that manually. We can do it dynamically. So I'm going to add a handler const handle change, which is going to take an event, and I'm going to extract the name and the value properties, or the name and the value variables, from event.target. Okay, so let's do destructuring of these. So the name is going to be this one. So for username, we have this username as the name, and so when we extract the name and value for the username field, we will get the username, and we will get whatever value we enter in here in the input field. Okay, so we have the name and value. So let's set the value for form data, and I'm going to do object destructuring again. So we are going to destructure the existing form data, and I'm going to set the new value for whatever name we get, and I'm going to set the value for this one. So if I enter something in the input field of username, then only the value for username will be changed, and all the existing values like password, confirm password, and email will stay the same in the form data set variable. So this was the purpose behind it. Okay, and let's now add this handler for every single field. Handle change. Let's pass the event in here. Copy this one. Do the same thing for all the other fields. Okay, now if I enter something, I should be able to see its value. Okay, so that means the handle change handler is now working fine. We are able to change the value of all the state variables. Now we have to change the value or the logic for the validate function as well. And before this, we only added this logic for the individual state variables. Let's now do it for the variables we have inside the form data object. So instead of this one, if I do form data dot username, then I'm going to define new variable here. Let new errors, and this will be an object which is going to contain all the errors. At first, it's going to be empty for every single field. Then password and confirm password. Okay. Now instead of doing set username error, I'm going to do new errors dot username, and then I'm going to set a new value for it, which is going to be username is required. All right, and we don't have to add the else block now. Let's do the same thing for form data dot email, and instead of doing this one, let's do new errors dot email equal to. Do the same thing for the second check and remove the else block. Okay, do the same thing for password and confirm password. New errors dot password equal to, let's remove the parentheses, and same thing goes for confirm password as well. This is a hectic task to perform because we have to handle logic for a lot of fields and we have to do a lot of things again and again, but still it should be done properly. Let's remove this parenthesis. I'm going to copy this one now. Okay, remove the parenthesis, and I think I should be able to add form data in here. Copy this one. It should be form data dot password. Same goes for confirm password as well. So everywhere we have the checks, we have to add it. Remove the else block. And before returning the is valid variable, I'm going to set errors equal to new errors. All right, let's remove this logic as well. And instead of logging the username, email, and password, which do not exist now because we don't have those state variables, let me show form data. All right, save this, hit the submit button. Let me first remove everything, and yeah, let me set form data to empty strings. So let's do username to empty string because I want to clear all the fields as well. Okay, let's save this. And if I hit the submit button now, I now get to see all the errors. So the logic should be working fine. Let's check one by one. Username is Aditya. Hit submit, the error goes away. Enter anything in here, hit submit, we get to see the invalid email error and why it was cleared for no reason. Okay, I got it. I added this logic outside of the if block. It should only work when the form is valid. Okay, so let's save this. Add Aditya in here, hit submit. It does not clear because the form is not yet valid. Let's add the logic for email at gmail.com. Hit submit, the error goes away. Let's add the password. Hit submit, error does not go away because it's just 7 characters long. Okay, yeah, it goes away now. And let me enter anything in here. So we get the error password does not match. Now let me enter the valid password. And now it should be submitted and the field should be cleared out. Okay, it works. Let's go to the console to see if we have the fields. Yeah, we now have all the data we needed for username, password, email, and confirm password. So this is how you implement the logic of handling the form validation in React. These were the two ways using which you can do form validation. I prefer the second way, just to have one state variable and just manage the state in there. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.